Hi everyone, it's me Gaming Do, and Marvel Studios, what you and I have been throughout my life. If there's one thing I might obsess over more than the Loud House, it's going to try to see every Marvel Studios movie to date. I've only skipped maybe 5 to date, seeing in the theaters. The rest of these movies I have seen, whether they were good or mediocre. I've seen all 4 Avengers films in theaters. The only ones I think I skipped was Cap 1, Thor 1, Thor the Dark World, and unfortunately Spider-Man Homecoming. That was an awesome movie though, but this is my top 5 favorite MCU movies of all time, and there will be spoilers for the following movies, so please be warned of this. And I may gush because this is my freaking childhood / just my love for these movies. I got 2 honorable mentions, and those honorable mentions are, freaking shoot me, I don't care. My number 1 honorable mention is The Avengers. I honestly, it doesn't quite make my top 5 in my opinion. I freaking love this movie, don't get me wrong. But in my opinion, I just think some of the other films do stuff better. Well, this one just... I think it's on the bottom half of the Avengers films, just being honest. It's better than Age of Ultron, but I like the later 2 better. But this is still a great movie. And then Thor Ragnarok is my other honorable mention. This is probably the funniest movie in the entire MCU. It's the look of this film with Asgard and Hela taking over the universe is just awesome. It is freaking awesome. And Hulk was definitely the best part of this movie. How he was speaking in the movie basically for the first time. This is when they started to bring this awesome comedy to the MCU. Well, there was another film, but this is like the MCU's comedy done perfectly. But now we start the top 5, guys. Where do we begin? Well, we begin with number 5, Spider-Man Homecoming. I actually did not get the chance to go see this movie in theaters. I think it was a busy summer for us, that was a couple days before I left for Canada that year, so that's why we didn't go to see it, and I really wanted to, and because this is a news announcement, I'm not going to Canada this year. I should be able to go see Far From Home in theaters. But I'm honestly kind of half thinking it's going to be better than this, but half thinking it's going to be a little weaker than this. I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty hard to beat this film. This is in my top 5 MCU films. Tom Holland's performance is freaking incredible. Simply, he captures the feel of a high schooler and not a freaking 30-year-old man like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield do. That's why I significantly like Tom Holland better. He's just a better Spider-Man because he wisecracks like the Spider-Man in the comics, and I'd say I think he might be maybe the least comic accurate, but he's the closest to the character itself. And I love the bond between him and Tony Stark. That was an incredible bond. it was a really great bond. I liked the bond between him and Happy. Those were some of the funniest scenes in the movie. The bonding in this movie is awesome with all the character interactions. This might be the best MCU movie, well, besides two of them, in terms of character interactions. This just Peter and Ned, Tony Stark and Peter and Happy. You know what I'm saying? It's like the character interactions in this film are incredible. Also, it has an excellent villain with the Vulture. Probably my favorite live-action Spider-Man villain behind the Green Goblin. I still prefer the first Spider-Man over this one, but this is my second favorite live-action Spider-Man film. Coming in as our number 4, we have Captain America Civil War. Okay, I'm going to admit something now. I really only saw it once. I'm not a giant fan of Captain America the Winter Soldier. I know, a lot of people loved it, and there were some great parts about it, but I was a little bored at times. This, however, was fun freaking action from beginning to end. It was an awesome movie. From the whole conflict of the Avengers basically splitting up into teams to fight each other. I love the concept of heroes fighting each other, to the characters specifically there. Like, this is the introduction of Black Panther and Spider-Man into the MCU. And I loved Ant-Man in this film. Probably the most out of any appearance he's been in the MCU. I think Ant-Man's best appearance is still in Civil War. I think they just knocked him out of the park. I might even say he was better than he was in Endgame. But yeah. Personally, I was on Team Cap just because I'm a tiny bit bigger Captain America fan than an Iron Man fan. But, yeah. Just an incredible movie with an incredible story about a team splitting up. And they really don't resolve it until Endgame. Like I told you, there would be spoilers in this video. They don't really resolve Tony and Steve's conflict until Endgame. The soundtrack, in my opinion, next to the Avengers films, I think, and Guardians of the Galaxy, this film has probably the best, soundtrack in the MCU. It's awesome. What else is there to say? This is the best Captain America movie by a landslide. Alright, coming in at number 3, we have Avengers Infinity War. Avengers Infinity War, in my opinion, floored me when I first saw it. I was like, holy shit. The villain actually technically won? What is that? And in my opinion, get ready. I think this might be the film on this list with the most problems. I really would have liked to have seen more Captain America. It more than makes up for it in Endgame. But Cap's one of my favorite people in the MCU, so I would have liked to have seen that more. And honestly, I think I would have honestly liked to seen everyone together in this movie. I know, we got it in Endgame, but really, honestly, with the hype I got, I was a little bit disappointed on initial release. But those are basically nitpicks for this incredible film. Thanos. Man. Thanos. Best freaking comic book villain, I think, to date. Beats Heath Ledger's Joker, William Dafoe's Green Goblin. This guy freaking destroyed half the universe. You gotta give him credit. He's a powerful villain. And you feel sympathy for him because he's not really doing it out of bad intentions. Even though what he's doing is freaking terrible, he thinks it'll balance the world a little better. And I love that about Thanos, his character. And the Avengers who do meet up are awesome. The battle on Wakanda, the battle on... I forgot what the planet was called that Iron Man and Spider-Man and the Guardians fought on, but it was one of the most epic fights ever. This is just a goddamn great movie. It might, in my opinion, have the most flaws out of any of the movies on this list. But it's still number 3 because the goods in this film are freaking better than the goods in the previous 2 entries. And coming in at my number 2, the runner-up is Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh boy. What a surprise. What a surprise. Really, nobody expected this was going to be great. As a matter of fact, I think people were expecting this was going to be the first truly, awful MCU movie when it turned out to be my second favorite. This was one of the biggest surprises of my life, I think, in terms of cinema. I was so surprised on how great this movie was. Where do I even begin? The soundtrack, incredible. All the 70s songs are... I can remember almost every song in this movie. It impacted me that much. The characters... Chris Pratt as Star-Lord is awesome. Gamora is freaking epic. Drax is cool as all hell, even though I think I like him a little more in the sequel and the Avengers films, but he was still epic. But I think the 2 standouts in this film are definitely Groot and Rocket. Oh my god, I can't gush enough about these 2. They're best pals, basically. And when Groot dies, the adult Groot dies to sacrifice to save the other Guardians in this film, I think it honestly impacted me a little more than the snap in Infinity War. It was just amazing. The villain is great. The way they try to get the Infinity Stone sort of in this movie is great. The atmosphere of the galaxy and the look of this film is incredible. Wow. Guardians of the Galaxy was such a big surprise, and yeah, it's my number 2. But if I had to pick one MCU movie that I could watch over and over and over and over and over and over again, that one film would be Avengers Endgame. Is my number 1 favorite MCU movie of all time. I can't help it. Even if it is the newest MCU movie, no other this is definitely the most impactful MCU movie since Guardians of the Galaxy. It was... Infinity War came close, but this, I think, beat Guardians of the Galaxy. And honestly, kind of by a big margin. This is a perfect movie. Though my stepfather really didn't seem like he was a huge fan of this movie, but honestly, this is an incredible movie. It's, I think, the second highest rated MCU movie on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's beaten the original Avengers. And in my opinion, it's definitely better. Where do I even begin? Every single character, even somebody like that I think wasn't utilized that much, had an impact in this film. Even characters like War Machine and Rocket. They honestly didn't have too big of a part in this film, but they still have a big impact. Hawkeye, who I wasn't a huge fan of before this movie, really stepped up his game in this movie. He was incredible in this film. Black Widow was awesome. Hulk, Professor Hulk, oh my god, that was an awesome decision. Captain Marvel, who, now that I really think about it, might be the weakest part of the entire movie. If I had to pick one eeny, meeny nitpick, it might be that Captain Marvel is pretty much the same as she was in not Avengers Infinity War. What the frick am I saying? She was pretty much the same as her own solo movie. She still wasn't not good. She was good, but I prefer the others much more. And God, the main four. Thor, I loved his story arc where he's basically a fat slob who's depressed about the snap. And when he played Fortnite, I pretty much was like laughing. Captain America goes back in time to basically be with Peggy Carter, and that was a very emotional scene. And then he gave the shield to Falcon, which I'd honestly be really interested to see a Captain America movie where Falcon is the new Captain America. That would be pretty freaking awesome. All the old characters coming back, and the way probably best scene I've ever seen in a movie theater. No joke. At every single movie I have seen in the movie theaters, I think I have never, ever, ever, I don't think I've ever literally screamed in a movie theater until Avengers Endgame. When those characters who got snapped came back on screen, I was literally jumping out of my seat in excitement. I couldn't help it. I was screaming. I was clapping really loud. But so was most of the theater, so it wasn't too embarrassing. That was one of the best scenes I think I've ever seen in a movie, period. That was so incredible, and they all go on to take Thanos on, but he's still so powerful that he can take on most of the Marvel Universe. And as you think he's going to snap, Iron Man steals the stones and does a reverse snap and kills all of Thanos' army. But it comes with a cost of risking his life. Iron Man sadly passes away at the end of this film. But it's a good sacrifice, an awesome sacrifice, and it's definitely my number one favorite MCU movie for sure. For sure. But that's about it, guys. I hope you liked this video. Let me know other maybe movie reviews you'd like to see. I just saw the Back to the Future movies. If you'd like need to review all three of those movies, I will. I'm recently trying to finish Pet Cemetery, the original 1989 film, because I've just bought the Blu-ray, but I haven't had time to watch it because of school. Um, so that might be my next review, but yeah, let me know in the comments below what you'd like me to review for a movie. And yeah, that's about it. Gaming Do here. See you later. Bye.